You say like into action or something.
I don't want to.
Alright, what's up everyone? This is Josh with Boost Creations once again, and I've got yet another package of parts coming in for the WRX. This one I'm actually pretty excited about. I have to hold it in a weird way or else you're going to actually know what it is. But this one actually has a little bit more research that had to go into it before I could decide on which way I needed to go for it. And I'll go over that in a little bit. First, I am very excited about opening this box, so I'm going to go ahead and open it. Maybe. It's like a maze. First impression is a little weird. Open up and there's these little baggies in this little pocket here. But there are the C-clips that, the wrist pin clips to hold them in. Next we're going to move over to holy crap. So you got the money there. Prettiest pistons I've ever seen. Front, right, and exhaust. Okay. Alright, so no more about these pistons. These are the JE pistons that are specifically for EJ25 block with EJ20 heads. If you go to do a little more research about a hybrid build, there's a couple different ways that people usually counteract the heads. They either go to a machine shop and have the heads like machined out to fit for a 2.5 because the 2.5 head, as far as the combustion chamber, is actually a lot smaller. So if you go ordering pistons for a EJ25 with that not in mind, you end up with something with less reliefs, and it actually ends up being a lot more compression ratio than you're probably planning on. So I don't plan on running pump gas anyways. This is going to be an E85 car, so I went with a higher compression piston to kind of help on low end torque as well. These aren't for you. But anyways, yeah, I am going with the JE pistons. The only reason I went with JE is because, well, they are the only ones I could find that actually made pistons specifically for the hybrid build. That they went ahead and did the math on their side and have the top of the piston shaped a little, not really shaped, a little different, but just a little bit different design to where it actually makes up for it. So the piston compression ratio that you order is actually what you end up getting when you put the motor together versus putting an 8.5 to 1 piston in and it not be made for it, and you end up with 9.5, 10.5 to 1 compression, where this is a 9.5 1 piston specifically made for what I'm actually building, so it'll actually be 9.5 to 1 compression. Another thing that comes in the box, if you've never ordered pistons before, which I've never ordered automotive pistons before, you get the wrist pins. They just have the part number on there. I'll actually show the specs, but these are the heavy duty wrist pins, which actually are surprisingly light. What else is in the box? You get your ring set, which if you've never put a motor together and never actually tried to set new rings or set clearances for the rings, you do need to look a little more into it. It depends on if you're running boost or if you're running nitrous. You have to set the ring gap to a specific gap, or you'll have the ring things actually touch, then your ring lands will disappear. If you like that magic trick, go ahead and do it, you know, whatever. But go ahead and open them up. We've got some more pistons. And I'm kind of curious if they're in different colored bags, because red and blue. We got another blue. Oh, we got another red, okay. Then it comes with a installation tips. Kind of let you know minimum clearances for the pistons, so when you go to get the block work done, you can kind of already know what you're gonna be telling them that you need. This one is going to be not really running for. It's going to be set a little looser because it is going to be pretty much put together as a raced engine. Also, it might be daily every now and then to like work or something like that. Just kind of do odds and maintenance on it, but it's like it will be set a little looser just to allow the piston to expand and actually fill up the gap. If you make it a little too tight, it's usually for like drag racing where you're going to be running for a short amount of time, not getting this piston very hot. So this will come in handy. As well as specifications. It has the groove width, land width, radial depth. Apparently these are called true arc locks. And so set clearance of 40 thousandths. Some application may require more clearance. Measure piston diameter 0.275 from bottom of piston skirt. Correct piston installation is the responsibility of the customer. Okay. I think there's, you do get a J piston sticker, which I'm not real huge on stickers, and they're not sponsoring me, so I'm not going to put their sticker on the car. Let's see what else this says. Ring installation guidelines. Okay, yeah, here we go. I'm going to try to get this a little closer, because this is what you want to look for when you're actually setting your ring gap. For this little chart here. Basically, ring and gap table. It's got high performance street strip, street moderate turbo nitrous, late model stock, circle track drag racing, nitrous race only, blown race only. We'll most likely be setting it for like a high performance street strip or even a street moderate turbo or nitrous, because they're a little bit. Yeah, since I don't have an actual like setter, like little bore setters, or I don't remember what they're called, but when actually you have to use the piston, I'll take a ring, go ahead and put it in the cylinder, use the piston to keep it even, push it down a little bit in there and measure the gap. If I need more gap, I just file a little bit off. You can get a ring filer for fairly cheap. It does make it a lot easier, and pretty much you just file a little bit at a time. You would set the ring again, take the piston out, check the gap. Once you get your correct gap, then you just make sure that ring stays with that cylinder. You're going to basically do that for all the other cylinders as well. Luckily this is only 4 cylinders, so it won't take that long. You want the sticker? There you have the sticker. Oh, you took down the other stickers. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, this was the only company that actually made the hybrid piston, like I said before. So obviously you do have to spend a little more money to get this piston, but you end up saving machining costs versus taking your heads to the machine shop and having them open up the combustion chamber. It also was like got an actual good little design here, a little quench area, to where you don't have to worry about doing a different setup as far as actually opening up the combustion chamber. Another thing they did as well is to accommodate the piston, they actually made it to where you don't need the either machining the head or getting a thicker head gasket. And I don't know why people even thought getting a thicker head gasket would work better or work, because you're basically putting more surface area of a gasket that is already known to blow out and into a vehicle that's going to be pushing a lot more power. So I mean, that's just a guarantee it's going to fail. I would rather just, I mean, if you're replacing pistons, you might as well just go ahead and get these pistons if you're doing a hybrid build. Because I've got an STI block versus the WRX block that was in the car, and I'll end up putting the WRX heads onto that STI block. So there's a little bit of consideration when you're doing that stuff. Make sure to do your research. I did a lot of research trying to find the pistons, and the only brand that I could come up with was gettng, which they're good brands. It's a good forged piston. I think it's a 2618 alloy. It's a little softer compared to the, I think, 4063. I don't know what the other alloy is, but it'll definitely do what I need it to do. Another reason I decided to go with the higher compression piston is so I won't have to run as much boost, and that way with the rods and the pistons it will have just less strain on the overall engine, and then hopefully prolong the life to where I don't have to worry about rebuilding it or dropping a cylinder or breaking rods. Got a coating, the little black stuff here, to kind of reduce that clearance. And it also does say right here somewhere, alright, cylinder liner and block prep. We strongly recommend that you chamfer or slightly relieve the bottom edges of your cylinders, liners, or blocks. If a sharp edge is present, it will cause excessive piston skirt wear, which is that kind of a no-brainer. This is very important in stroker applications where the piston skirt travels past the bottom of the cylinder, where this isn't a stroker. It's going to be basically a standard 2.5 liter. The other thing is these pistons are actually going to be 99.75 millimeter versus a 99.5 millimeter. The sad part is this is almost the size of a small block Chevrolet piston, almost 4-inch piston. So it's kind of cool. It's the biggest piston in a foursome I've ever seen. But that's it for now. We'll be having some parts still come in slowly. We just have to get gaskets, bearings, and then new timing set, new water pump, and then we have to get injectors. We may try to get the injectors first because we are looking at using some ID 1050Xs, because like I said, we're going to run E85, and then on top of that we need probably a 450 Walbro fuel pump, and hopefully we can start getting all that stuff coming in. The injectors will obviously, it might take a minute for them, and same with the fuel pump, because those are the next priciest items. But as far as gaskets and stuff like that, we may wait on that. We may try to get the injectors and stuff first. Just kind of take some time, so just be patient. Be probably another month before we actually get a shipment of like parts. But as soon as we get them, we will unbox them and kind of give pros and cons of them. As far as pros and cons for these, the only con I can think of is, like I said, it is a softer alloy, which for what it's going to be used for, I'm not going to be like running nitrous. I'm not going to be trying to push a whole crazy amount of power out of these. I plan on 450 horsepower. They should handle it just fine. And like I said, when you set your ring gap, as long as you set it properly, you don't try to push a whole crazy amount of power out of them, they'll work just fine. And we did figure out why they come in red and blue. The blue is the driver's side, and then the red is the passenger side. So that's why they have two different colors, which it says on the piston left, and then also points to the front of the engine. Right points to the front of the engine, and it also says exhaust. So these are pretty self-explanatory. When it says front, points to the front of the engine, not just the front. But yeah, that's it for now. And stay tuned. Make sure you pay attention to the next episode. And the 315ZX build, he does have it up and running. he had an issue with his turbo ECU, so he's trying to work all that out, because he said he got it started, it ran, but it ran like crap. It was running about 10 and a half to 1 on the air-fuel ratio, so it was running way too rich. Even for something as far as his build goes, it shouldn't be running that rich on startup. So once he gets that figured out, we'll make sure to go back by and visit it and see how it's going. So stay tuned.